Welcome to the Community Foundation 101 Board Basics presented by the Community Foundation Greater Des Moines. We really appreciate everyone taking time today to join the webinar. As a reminder, we are recording this webinar and will be sharing it in our affiliate link. It will also be available in our affiliate resource page on the Community Foundation's website. Our intention is that this webinar becomes a resource to be shared with current advisory board members. This can also be used as an orientation tool when onboarding new advisory board members. My name is Joe Sorensen, and I serve as the Vice President of Affiliate Relations. I've been with the Community Foundation for just over 7 years. My primary responsibilities are to lead the strategic direction of the program, cultivate relationships with donors, business leaders, and professional advisors across the state, manage the team of affiliate employees and contractors working on behalf of their local community foundation, and build awareness of the Endow Iowa Tax Credit and Keep Iowa Growing programs.
And I'm Rebecca Murphy, the Affiliate Relations Coordinator. I've been with the Community Foundation for 3 years and have been working with the affiliates for the past 2. My primary responsibilities include managing the grant-making cycles for each of our affiliates, providing resources and training related to board development, and creating and customizing marketing pieces for our affiliate network. We want to cover a few logistics for the webinar before we begin. All participants should be muted. Please use the question area at the bottom of the screen to ask a question. And as was already mentioned, this webinar is being recorded and will be available for future viewing on our Affiliate Resources webpage. There are 4 key items that we hope you take away from this webinar. First is an understanding of what a community foundation is. Second, how the community foundation is like a bicycle. Third, what the advisory board member roles and expectations are. And finally, how you can continue to plug into training opportunities. First, we'll start by looking at what a community foundation is. The technical definition of a community foundation is that it is a tax-exempt nonprofit, publicly supported philanthropic institution with a long-term goal of building permanent named component funds established by many separate donors to carry out their charitable interests and for the broad-based charitable interest of and benefit for the residents of a defined geographic area. That's a very technical definition, so now we'll break that down a bit. Community foundations are 501c3 nonprofits created to support the distinct needs of a community through providing funding for community projects and organizations, working with donors to meet their charitable goals. They are able to support charities and causes as a neutral partner, and they are led by a volunteer board of community representatives. A community foundation has 3 special features: building permanent endowment, personalized services, and local expertise. We'll go over all 3 of these in more detail now, but it's important to keep in mind that it's the combination of all these features that separates a community foundation from other organizations. First, we'll look at building permanent endowment, which is one of the community foundation's purposes. Building endowment ensures that grants are always available to support the broad needs of the community. With an endowment, a percentage of the fund can be distributed each year. For the Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines, our endowments can grant out 5% of their total balance, and the remainder of the fund remains invested to ensure the fund will continue making the largest impact possible for years to come. That spendable 5% is calculated using the total balance of the fund on 12/31 of each year. This illustration shows the power of building endowment and how these funds are meant to exist to serve the needs of the community forever. So you can see here that the initial gift into the fund was $10,000. By year 15, the fund has grown to $16,000 and has been able to grant out $9,000. It continues to grow from there, and by year 50, the endowment has granted out $66,000 and has a total balance of $57,000, which is over 6 times the amount of the original gift. Through this illustration, we can see that endowments are a great way to plan for the future needs of our community while also allowing funding to address the present-day issues. The second special feature of a community foundation that sets it apart from other similar organizations is its ability to provide personalized service to our donors. We are in the communities we're serving, so we're able to personally interact with our donors to ensure that we're meeting their needs and helping them reach their charitable goals. There are a number of ways that we're able to offer personalized service. We educate individuals on ways they can partner with the Community Foundation to achieve their charitable giving goals. We customize giving approaches to match personal interests and tax planning needs. We're also able to facilitate the acceptance of a variety of gift types, including cash, stock, real estate, farmland, and retirement accounts. We'll go into more detail about the different gifts we're able to accept a little later on in the webinar. And finally, we provide grant-making expertise to provide support for community projects and organizations. The third special feature of a community foundation is that it provides local expertise. A community foundation is a local organization with an advisory board made up of local people. This group has knowledge of the issues, opportunities, and resources that shape their county and communities, and this enables them to play a key role in solving problems in the community, while also helping donors learn more about local needs that help them make their giving more effective. Each community foundation also has an annual grant process, which enables the organization to regularly survey the needs of the community in order to provide support to the most appropriate areas. Because it's a local organization, the Community Foundation is able to stay alert to the emerging issues in the communities it serves. We're going to pause periodically throughout the webinar in order to ask you a few quick quiz questions that relate to the material we've just covered. Please take a minute now to answer the 2 questions on the screen. True or false, an endowment has a fixed percentage that can be granted annually? And what is the third special feature of a community foundation? Now we'll review the answers. True, an endowment has a fixed percentage that can be granted annually. And the third special feature that we just covered is local expertise.
Now that Rebecca has talked about what a community foundation is generally, let's talk specifically about the Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines and our role as a host foundation for affiliate community foundations across the state. The Community Foundation was created in 1969. Our mission statement is to improve the quality of life for all by promoting charitable giving, connecting donors with causes that they care about, and providing leadership on important community issues. Our tagline in our work is that we are simply better together. The mission statement most likely looks similar to the mission statement you have for your local community foundation. Here are some additional numbers regarding the Community Foundation. All the activity of our affiliates are included in these numbers and an important part of the work that we do. In 2004, the state of Iowa passed 2 significant pieces of legislation that had direct impact on Iowa community foundations. The state recognized 2 trends. Most community foundations were serving urban centers. They also recognized that many gambling institutions were based in urban centers, and as a result, the philanthropic dollars being distributed by the institution were concentrated in those communities. As a way to support the growth of community foundations statewide and to distribute gambling proceeds, the state established the County Endowment Fund program. Community foundations who were not in a county with a gambling institution would receive a percentage of the gaming tax revenue. 75% to be distributed to charitable organizations in the community, and the other 25% be invested in an endowment for future community needs. All counties, regardless of population, receive the same distribution amount. To participate in the County Endowment Fund program, community foundations need to meet national standards and an accreditation process for U.S. community foundations. Many smaller communities decide to affiliate with a larger host foundation to meet national standards. An affiliate is operated by a local advisory board that works to build permanent endowment and make local grant-making decisions. The governance, legal, and fiscal responsibilities fall onto the host foundation. You partner with the Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines to handle gift processing, manage finances and investments of assets, conduct due diligence for processing grants, provide marketing materials for your use, host training opportunities, manage affiliate staff, and provide technical assistance to strengthen your community foundation. We created the Affiliate Memorandum of Understanding to outline the relationship between the host and affiliate. It was developed with the strengths of each party in mind. It also outlines how an affiliate can either join or choose to leave our network. You may request a copy of the MOU at any time. We also post any changes made to the MOU on the affiliate link. Our affiliate council is our sounding board for the affiliate program. They help us consider enhancements to the services we offer to affiliates and the best ways to approach our work. The council is made up of advisory board members, staff, and is diverse in affiliates from different parts of the state as well as life cycles. The purple counties represent the 31 counties currently participating in our network. There is also an additional 9 communities in those counties that have a community foundation we serve. So it's time for another quick quiz. Here's 2 questions. What year was the Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines organized? And when did the state pass the Endow Iowa and County Endowment Fund program? Please take a few moments to answer those questions. The Community Foundation was organized in 1969, and in 2004, the state passed the Endow Iowa Tax Credit Program as well as the County Endowment Fund program. I always like to say that community foundations are not complicated, but they are complex. In order to simplify the complexity of a community foundation, we use a bicycle as a metaphor to talk about the 3 main components of a community foundation. Those 3 components are impact or grant making, charitable giving, and organizational capacity. Impact and charitable giving are the wheels of the bicycle. They are what move the Community Foundation forward and allow us to meet our mission of improving our communities. Both wheels need to receive the same amount of energy and effort to work appropriately. They cannot work well independent of each other. Organizational capacity is represented by the frame of the bicycle. It is what holds the bicycle together. Without a strong frame, it is likely the bicycle will go off the road.
So now we're going to focus on explaining the different parts of the bicycle, starting with the impact or grant-making wheel. The Community Foundation awards grants for local organizations and projects, providing financial support to make a positive impact in the community. Grant-making can be broken down into 2 different types. The first is responsive grant-making, where the Community Foundation responds to the needs that it is made aware of. You all do this through your competitive grant cycles. The second type of grant-making is proactive, where the Community Foundation is identifying community needs and priorities to provide funding towards. Now let's look at an example of each of these types of grant-making. This picture reflects a responsive grant that our affiliate, the Story County Community Foundation, made. This picture was taken at the Cambridge Memorial Library. The library had applied for a grant from the Community Foundation to purchase new computers. In response to their application, the Community Foundation awarded them a grant, and this photo shows one of the computers they were able to purchase. For our example of proactive grant-making, we've got a picture of a ribbon cutting at the dentist's office in Jewell, Iowa. The city of Jewell in Hamilton County was having problems recruiting a dentist to serve their community. They also did an assessment that identified that 1/3 of their population was underserved for dental care. To solve this problem and meet this need, the Enhance Hamilton County Foundation worked with the Economic Development Office to purchase 2 dental chairs. The chairs would be rented by the dentist for $1 each, and the dentist would be able to buy the chairs for $1 each after working there for 5 years. In exchange for this, the dentist had to do education in the schools, and a percentage of the patients had to be from the underserved population. The larger idea behind this was that after 5 years, the dentist would have good roots planted in the community and would be less likely to take the offer to purchase the chairs and move on. So this was a proactive way for the Community Foundation to come along a community that had a need for a dentist and problem solve with them to bring dental care to their residents. Now for our next quiz. What are the 2 types of grant making the Community Foundation administers? The 2 types of grant making the Community Foundation administers are responsive and proactive grants.
Charitable giving for community foundations is different than most nonprofits. We generally are not raising dollars for the here and now or specific programs. Community foundations are in the business of attracting wealth and making long-term investments. We work with donors who have a passion for a community and want to ensure there are financial resources available for many years to come. We think about charitable giving in two ways. Transactional. Donors use community foundations as a vehicle to support the causes they care about. This may be a donor who wants a donor advised fund in order to simplify their giving, a nonprofit looking to the community foundation to manage their endowment in order to free up capacity for their staff and board to focus on programming, or a church wanting to use an endowment to talk to members about planned giving and securing resources for the church's future. Active and strategic donors align their giving with community foundations' grant-making goals. This could be in terms of disaster relief, fields of interest identified as critically important to the success of the community, or donors to your endowment who want to ensure your community has the financial resources available for future challenges and opportunities. Here's an example of a transactional donor. This is the Dinherter family. Cherie was a special education teacher and Larry a longtime executive in Sioux Center. As part of their retirement planning, they considered how they could maintain a similar level of philanthropic support to their community when they knew their income in retirement would change. The family's tax advisor suggested giving some of the privately held stock that Larry received as compensation for his role at the company to a donor-advised fund at the Okoboji Foundation. They now use their donor-advised fund to support causes they care about, like Camp High Hopes in Sioux City. The Dinherters were thankful to the Okoboji Foundation to provide them a way to continue giving back to their community in retirement and be strategic in their tax planning. Active strategic giving are donors who come alongside the Community Foundation grant-making priorities. When a horrific tornado ripped through Marshalltown in 2018, the local community foundation responded by opening the Rebuild Marshalltown Fund. They knew that there would need to be financial resources available to invest in community amenities that would need to be built in order to recover from the impact of the tornado. They also seen it as an opportunity to bring donors together and to invest in enhancing the vibrancy of the community. Here are 4 themes or resources to keep in mind when thinking about charitable giving and the Community Foundation. The Transfer of Wealth study conducted in the early 2000s was a contributing factor to why the state of Iowa started the County Endowment Fund program and, as we will learn more about soon, the Endow Iowa Tax Credit. This study was recently updated in 2016 by the Iowa State University Community Vitality Center. They estimated the amount of wealth that will transfer from one generation to the next. You can see in the 31 county region we serve, over $225 billion will transfer in the next 50 years. This is a tremendous amount of wealth that may or may not stay in the community in which it was created. Community foundations give individuals an opportunity to leave some of those financial resources to their community. The study did estimate the transfer of wealth county by county. Contact us to learn what the estimate is for your county and what that can mean as it relates to charitable giving. We work with donors of all shapes and sizes, individuals and families, nonprofit organizations, schools and foundations, corporations and businesses, community betterment projects, and of course, counties and communities. As an advisory board member, it is your responsibility to connect the Community Foundation to people you know who love their community. We can assist them with identifying the way they can engage with the Community Foundation that meets their charitable giving goals. Going back to the transfer of wealth, a high percentage of that wealth is held in assets other than cash. The Community Foundation is very effective with assisting donors in giving things they own, turning them into cash, and supporting the causes and communities the donors care about. Examples of those assets are appreciated securities, real estate, business interests, personal tangible property, retirement plans, life insurance, and through our Keep Iowa Growing program, farmland, retirement income tools, and grain. A key audience of the Community Foundation is professional advisors, i.e., attorneys, bankers, CPAs, financial planners, etc. We can work closely with them to assist their clients in meeting their financial and charitable goals. I mentioned earlier that the state passed two pieces of legislation early in the 2000s that supported community foundations. The second is Endow Iowa. This program was created to incentivize Iowans to endow causes and communities they care about. The three requirements of the program are gifts must be held at a qualified community foundation, those funds must support Iowa charitable causes, and no more than 5% annually can be spent from the fund. In turn, the donor can earn a 25% tax credit for their contribution. If donors are okay with these requirements, again, they can earn a 25% tax credit for their contribution in addition to their normal federal deduction. On the screen is a chart that illustrates the tax savings of Endow Iowa. Tax credits are similar to gift cards. For every $1 of tax credit, I am able to reduce by state of Iowa tax liability by $1. Generally, a tax credit is more beneficial to a donor than a deduction. We always encourage donors to talk to their tax and legal advisor on how this program impacts their own situation. 6 million tax credits are available annually. They are typically exhausted earlier in the year, and donors go on a wait list for next year's tax credits. This has been a terrific program for our state. It has endowed over $280 million in charitable giving for the future of our state's nonprofits and communities. Grants from these endowments are now exceeding $18 million annually. For every dollar the state is putting into the program, $3 is coming out to support Iowa communities. It's now time for another quick quiz. Our two questions are, gifts to the Rebuild Marshalltown Fund were from transactional or active strategic donors? And secondly, what percentage tax credit do donors receive when giving through the Endow Iowa program? Take a few minutes to answer those questions. Donors to the Rebuild Marshalltown Fund were active and strategic because they aligned their giving with the goals of the Community Foundation. And secondly, if donors give through the Endow Iowa Tax Credit Program, their tax credit equals the 25% of the gift given.
The final part of the bicycle is the frame, which holds the two wheels of our bike together. Just as the bicycle frame supports the wheels and the rider on an actual bike, the frame of our Community Foundation bicycle includes the supporting capacities that make the movement of the wheels possible. This includes board leadership, planning, community leadership, evaluation, operations, values or mission statement, and marketing. Now I want to talk specifically about the capacity of board leadership. The primary purpose of board service is to ensure the organization is healthy and well run. Some of you may have served on the board of nonprofit organizations before, but there are a couple of unique features of serving on the board of a community foundation. First, you are responsible for awarding grants for community needs. Along with this is your responsibility to be knowledgeable of what those community needs and priorities are, and deciding where to invest your grant dollars to make an impact in your community. Second is to build and protect community endowments that will exist to serve the ongoing and future needs of your community for generations to come. There are several other roles and responsibilities that we expect from advisory board members. You should be encouraging and educating citizens to give back to support their community. You should always represent the interests of your community or county. You participate in the annual grant cycle to provide support for community projects and organizations, which again relies on each advisory member being aware of the needs and priorities of your community. You also provide organizational leadership, direction, and oversight to guide the work of the Community Foundation. You are being informed about the Community Foundation's mission, services, policies, and work, attending all advisory board meetings and functions, reviewing the agenda and supporting materials prior to advisory board meetings, serving on committees or offering to take on special assignments, and being an ambassador for the Camille Foundation in your communities. Finally, you should be able to commit 1 to 4 hours per month to Camille Foundation activities, which means you should be doing some Camille Foundation associated work outside of your regularly scheduled board meetings. This can include helping with special events, making personal contacts with community members, or something less formal of just mentioning your service on this board in your conversation with friends and family. So now we've completely assembled our Camille Foundation bicycle. All of these parts are vitally important to the work of the Camille Foundation and are needed to ensure that the bike continues moving forward. Here's another quick quiz for you to take a moment to answer these questions. What is the third part of the bicycle? And how many hours a month should advisory board members commit to spending on Camille Foundation activities? The frame is the third part of the bicycle that we just covered. And you should be spending 1 to 4 hours a month as an advisory board member on Camille Foundation activities.
We want to share a few more stories of how community foundations work with donors and put the bicycle in motion.
Here's a quote from one of our donors in Wright County, Karen Weld. Karen's parents were very active in their local church in Clarion, Iowa. After they passed, Karen wanted to ensure that their legacy of giving back to their church would continue on. She worked with our affiliate, the Wright County Charitable Foundation, to establish an endowment that will provide support for the church for many years to come. Working with the Camille Foundation provided the opportunity for Karen to honor the memory of her parents by ensuring that a place they cared deeply about would continue to receive support. As the quote says, by creating this fund, it's as if Karen's mother is still sitting in the church pew, putting a check in the weekly offering plate.
John and Frances Amstutz were longtime farmers and community volunteers in the Bloomfield community. As a part of their estate plans, they decided the farm assets would be inherited by their 3 children. John and Frances wanted to provide for their community as well and chose to establish the Amstutz Family Fund at the Davis County Foundation. Their financial planner suggested to name the family fund as a beneficiary of their retirement accounts. These accounts are well suited for after lifetime gifts as charities do not pay income tax on distributions from retirement accounts like children would. They named their 3 children as advisors to the family fund and instructed them to support critical projects in the community. Several years after John and Frances passed away, the Amstutz Family Fund was one of the lead contributors to the campaign to renovate and add on to the local public library. John and Frances did not know what the greatest need may be for their community in the future, but they did their part to ensure there were dollars available to help support those needs. The Vaughn family are longtime Des Moines residents. During the 80s, they started to buy Iowa farmland as an investment. Fast forward to these past few years, and the family was doing some tax planning with their advisor. It had already been decided that the other family assets would go to their one daughter. As a way to lessen their tax liability, their advisor suggested the Vaughns gift 80 acres of farmland in Woodbury County to charity. They thought this was a good idea, but hesitated because they did not know if this would affect the relationship they had with their longtime tenant farmer, Kenny. Through the Community Foundation's Keep Iowa Growing program, the Vaughns were able to gift the 80 acres, and the Community Foundation kept the land in production. Kenny is the current tenant farmer, and he sends the annual rent check to the Community Foundation. Those proceeds are distributed by the Vaughn family annually to causes they care about. Keep Iowa Growing provided a way for the Vaughns to meet their financial and charitable goals. Quick quiz. What type of account did the Amstutz family make to the Community Foundation a beneficiary of? And secondly, what is the name of the program the Vaughns contributed their farmland to that gave ownership to the Community Foundation while allowing them to use the rental income to support charity? Take a few moments to answer those questions. The Amstutz family used their retirement account to support their community after their lifetime through a fund at the Community Foundation, and Keep Iowa Growing allowed the Vaughns to contribute their farmland while using the rental income to support charity. As we wrap up this webinar, we want to share some ways that you can stay engaged and continue learning more about community foundations. The name of our affiliate network is ICANN. We host several training opportunities every year that brings together advisory board members and staff from across the network. We typically highlight a community resource, bring in experts on community foundation topics, and provide an opportunity for affiliates to learn and network amongst each other. Each February, we hold ICANN in Des Moines in conjunction with our investment seminar. We take ICANN on the road in April to 2 different counties in our community. It is a fun to showcase a community in Iowa, as well as bring these trainings closer to home. The affiliate link is a bi-weekly e-newsletter providing information, resources, and training opportunities to our affiliate network. This is where you can find all the greatest and latest happening in our network, as well as the Morning Cup of Joe video series. Anyone can be on our distribution list. Just let us know and we can sign you up. The affiliates resource webpage is a library of resources for our affiliates to access that includes an orientation manual, grant making guide, board recruitment package, the Morning Cup of Joe video series, and quarterly marketing toolkits. Contact Rebecca Murphy for access. The Basics of Being an Effective Board Member is a toolkit produced by the Community Foundation that includes short videos and resources to help you grow as a volunteer leader for your Community Foundation. These trainings are not specific to Community Foundation board service, but to all types of nonprofit boards. Please share these in your community to volunteers who are considering joining a board or need a refresher on the basics. Annually, the Iowa Council Foundation hosts a Connect conference. It is a free one-day training that brings all community foundations from across the state together. Local, regional, and national speakers present on a variety of topics. It is a high-energy day that leaves participants inspired to get back to work in their own community. There is mileage assistance available and many grants to assist you in implementing an idea learned at the conference. You can see the save the date for this year's conference on the slide now. Here's our last quick quiz of the day. What is the name of the most popular video blog series on the internet? And secondly, who hosts the annual Connect conference? The most popular video blog series on the internet is, of course, the Morning Cup of Joe, and the Iowa Council Foundation is the annual host of the Connect conference.
Before we close out, we just wanted to review our key takeaways one more time. These are the large topics we covered during our webinar. First, we explained what a community foundation is. Then we talked about how a community foundation is similar to a bike. We moved on to the expectations for advisory board members and ended with additional training opportunities that are available to you.
Thank you again for participating on today's webinar. Rebecca and my contact information are on the slide now. Always feel free to give us a call or invite us to a board meeting. We both want to spend as much time in your community as possible and enjoy being on the road. In closing, we appreciate the time and effort each of you provide to your local community foundation. You are a valued partner to our organization. The work you are putting in now to grow your community foundation will pay dividends for many years to come. You're having such a positive impact on the lives of many Iowans. Thank you.